News at 10. Starting off with today's headlines. Wonderful Shama starts up a new YouTube channel. Has more energy than anticipated. Well, can you imagine? That's a shocker. Well, it seems like those are the only headlines we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to Gifted Mind News, and that is it for our headquarters. Moving on to our YouTube studio with our host, Wonderful Shama himself. Welcome back to the channel. Jumping straight to the topic today, living the moment. What is living the moment, you may ask? Well, in simple terms, it's being in the present. By what's going on and by what you're going through at that particular time and acting based on that time frame. Now, you may also ask how important is living in the moment. Now, we'll break down to that as we go. Giving you a brief background for you to understand more on what this living in the moment issue is about. Well, I'll tell you more about me, although it's sort of an introduction, but it's not. Yeah. So, in my case, living in the moment, I would say that for the past years, I haven't been living in the moment. And what that has brought me is I fail to see what is right ahead of me at that particular time, and they end up losing it. Okay, it seems more confused now since I still haven't explained a lot of what living in the moment is. But I'm going to try and give you a story so you get a brief background or a brief feel of what this living in the moment really is. So for me, in the past years, as I already explained in my previous video, for those who haven't watched it, please go and watch it before you come to this one. I really haven't been living in the moment in the sense that despite all the things I've been doing or all the things I do, I never fully put myself in them. Yeah, I never fully embraced them as a whole or as something to be proud of as much as other people would be proud of me or would be proud of those works. For me, it was something so basic or something not to take pride and joy in. So over time, I've seen that this not living in the moment takes away the pride and joy because you're not in the present, so you don't acknowledge what's ahead of you. You don't acknowledge what's in front of you at the same time. And what happens is you end up also losing what you have at the time because you're focusing on something else. So, okay, what I mean by focusing on something else, maybe you might be focusing on what might happen tomorrow, what might happen in the past. And now, delving in deep into this too, I'll give an example of my art. As you can see in the background, I have two sections. There are pictures this side and there is an artwork this side. I know you can only see it somewhere here, but then I'll try to put images on the screen. Yeah, so I think on my right, I have pictures of 2020. Like, I was so deep down into art, in my graphic designing days. I think that was my peak. Like, I couldn't go a month without creating something. So each month, I think from October, I had, if not September, I had to create something different. But then that declined by the end of 2020 and I haven't fully recovered yet. But then you might also ask why this happened rather. And I picked up the basics that I felt to embrace what I have, or the gift I had, or how great it was. And now also pushing it back. Wow, yeah. And why I say this is because despite all the other things I do, despite putting myself into photography, putting myself into art, putting myself in music, I never fully embraced these things as something to be proud of, or as a gift rather. Yeah, I just took them as something mere or something I do. For example, in graphic designing, I could find people coming to me asking me to design something for them. And for as much as I recall, I've always pushed back these requests. Even to those who were willing to pay. I was like, I'm not really that good. I'm not this, I'm not that. No, I can't manage. Which was partly true and partly not true, because if they came up to me, it means they saw something in me, which is good. But for myself, I really didn't see it. So now taking you back to my very first article, for those of you who have checked my Medium account, it's the very first one, Fear, Insecurities, and something. Yeah. I wrote that, I think 2020, if not 2019, I'm not sure. Now, I will explain to you further on how living in the moment, not living in the moment, somehow links to that. It's a whole different topic too, but I've also realized it links. So if you remember from my previous video, for those of you who haven't watched, please go back and watch. I talked about sometimes me talking to myself indirectly without knowing. So over time, over the years, I realized that article, as much as when I was writing it, I knew what I was saying, or sometimes targeting myself. But that article directly, this time it's not even indirect. Yeah, it's something I realized. It directly targets me as well, as much as it might also target or some of you. But for me too, it reflects the same. So if I go back and read it, I'm not reading it as me who wrote it, I'm reading it as someone else talking to me. Yeah? Because what not living in the moment does, it creates several other, several other unnecessary attributes, like fear, insecurities as well, even though it might not be fear on its own. So in my case, yeah, as I've said, I haven't really been living in the moment. But at the same time, not living in the moment has also made me realize that all along for me not to be in the moment is because I developed the fear of being seen. Now, what do I mean by the fear of being seen? In my case, the fear of being seen is having the gift or having the knowledge or the technical know-how on something, but not being not willing to showcase it. Like as I said, in the case of graphic design, they could reject offers or something like that, And in the time I even started baking, I was just doing it for fun. I did it for me because I never really liked cakes from elsewhere. Yeah, I liked it in my style. I started baking. It turned out to be something good. People wanted to buy from me. And I was pushed to do that. And taking you a while back to when I really was in my graphic designing days, when I started doing t-shirts. Yeah, I had my very first t-shirt. It was by Be the Photographer. Now this Be the Photographer phrase and term was something I came up with a while back, I think when I was in Form 3, and I turned that into a graphical imagery, something like that. And I had a t-shirt for that. I was doing it for myself, but little did I know that people actually liked it. People were like, yeah, this is good stuff. And I remember very well one of my sisters, she funded me, like she gave me a top up. She's like, okay, here's some money as capital, yeah? Start a business. People like this because at some time she posted she posted the shirt and myself in it, yeah? And I was just like, whoa, okay. The number of people were like, okay, I also want this, I also want this, I also want this, I also want this. You might think I started a business, but I ran away from it. Why? I never lived in the moment. I had the fear of being seen, even if the people liked the things, but for me, I felt like it wasn't enough. Yeah, and as much as I felt it was enough for me, I was like, yeah, the whole business idea Yeah, if it was someone else doing it for me, I'll be like, okay, cool. I don't have, I just designed it. Go ahead. But now that it's in my name and everyone else is wanting this, I'm like, okay, how do I carry this out? Like till date, I still haven't started that. Over time, I've been still developing my own t-shirts. One of this is elevated figures. Yeah, this is a redesigned one. Yeah, but over time, the need for people also still increased. But did I offer to them? Did I actually launch myself as a business to actually make this in full supply? No, I didn't. And that's something I've realized also just recently, as I say, the fear of being seen. And I think for me, it's actually a big step to even start a YouTube channel. Now that I realized that I had the fear of being seen, because I had to debate over this over a long period of time. And I believe there's so many people out there who also want to start something, but then they have the fear of being seen. And in my case, okay, to break it down more so that you understand, I could get that voice like, okay, so what do people think? Yeah. Even though in myself, I know that I'm good on some level, but then I still found it hard to accept that for me. I don't know if it makes sense. So even though I knew I was good on some level, I still found myself trying to validate myself from others. For example, like from the very first article I released, I wrote that way back, like I think I released in 2020, yeah, as I say, but I released it, I think maybe even 8 months after I had written it. Why? I had to go around fetching feedback from the people, who are writers, poets, like, okay, is this good? Is this well written? Is this well sampled? Something like that. So as much as I knew that I'm able to write, but then there was still that voice like, okay, maybe this isn't enough still. Yeah. Get reviews from it. So as much as reviews are good, it's also good to know where you stand, because it's not all the time you have to rely on people to get their opinion on something before you do it. If you're ambitious on it, if that's your goal, if that's what you really want, you work on improving it. So first of all, what you have to do is to do it. Then after you do it, that's when you see how best to go with it. I'm not sure if I've already said it, but then there are some people who have also wanted to start so many things: YouTube channels, pages, singing, or dancing even, poetry, you name it, whatever it is. But then the fear of being seen, the fear of being accepted, that voice which comes in your head, is this good enough? Yeah, then you end up just sitting, okay? Which is even far much worse than first trying to get validation. Yeah, at least when you start trying to get validation, you have made the first step to doing it and asking people to validate it before you actually release it. But now, not even doing it, like, okay, so what do people think of me? Something like that. So, further to that, of me not living in the moment, it happened to get to the matter worsened. Yeah, my situation worsened because now I never really saw the bigger picture. I never really saw where I stood, and I was so negligent of my surrounding, of how best I contribute. Because if you're doing something for yourself, yeah, you are also doing it for other people. So I never really knew my impact. As much as I may have noted that, or I may have gotten a few feedback from other people, I started this because of you inspired me, something like that. But then in me still, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for me, yeah? It ended there, yeah? So for me, it was good for me, but I never really embraced it as being something good for other people. So I remember a few months back, I pulled a stunt. Yeah, there was a Deft Poetry Festival in Blantyre, Malawi. Yeah, and what happened is that these deaf people, they released posters of who was performing on that day, yeah, on stage, whether on poetry or singing, blah blah blah. And they took one of the posters, the poems who were online that day, and I edited it with the little graphic design we still had. I edited it, added my picture, changed the name, put my name, and then on the day of the event, I released it. Yeah, that's how extreme I went. Not living in the moment also made me take things lightly. Take things lightly. You see how much of taking things lightly, the percentage or whatever. You can see the percentage of taking things lightly I had from this. Yeah. So I released this, yeah, on the same day of the festival. And I'm like, guys, I'll be performing, blah blah blah, see you there, I'm coming home. I curated all this and made it look so real. So to a point whereby my sister last minute, she's like, bro, what time are you performing? Since I made it seem as if I'm performing, yeah? I'm like, what time are you performing? I'm like, oh, snap. To date, I'm not really sure. I believe it was true. I'm not really sure if she actually thought I was going or she was just playing along. But then I believe she was, something like that. So, as I'm saying, not living in the moment made me blind, yeah, to actually see what's going on or to know how much of an impact or how much people are willing on its own, yeah. Because the feedback I even got from these people, like, oh, I wish I could come. Hey, I wish I had the money. Send money for a ticket, bro. Let's come see you. I will support you. Blah blah blah. Congrats. Something like that. And for me, I was so overwhelmed. To be honest, guys. I was like, oh, people are willing to come see me. That's bizarre. I never really expected so much love or so much so much from that stunt alone. For me, it was a joke. For people, it was something serious. And then that's where I realized, okay, I think I took this too far. Yeah. And to make that up, yeah, because from my sister's side, she's like, oh, I got ready, blah blah blah, I canceled my plans. Yeah, I was coming to see you. You may think that's something normal. Your family members or people around you to support you, it's something that might seem normal to people. But for me, it wasn't. Why? Because I've never been in the moment for a long time, to the point whereby I take what I do as something just for me. Like, if the event was to happen, I really would be like, oh, okay, whoever comes, comes. Yeah. Despite this being a family member or someone close to me, be like, whoever comes, comes. Yeah. I don't really acknowledge that support I have from back home or from the people around me that, yeah, it's there. Yeah. I'm just be there doing it for the sake of doing it. Yeah. So for me, it was a shocker to even hear this. So after this, that's when I opened up my mind. I'm like, okay, guys, I think there is something that is wrong, or there's something I'm not seeing, something I'm not acknowledging. Yeah. As I said, it makes you blind. Not living the moment makes you blind on its own. And something that even my sister would hear from this, from that clash which happened after her saying she cancelled her plans, she wanted to come see me perform and whatnot. I literally had to send her money, and it was the last of what I had in my account. Yeah. In my case, I sent it as money to apologize for wasting her time or making her change her plans or something that, yeah, for getting ready to come see her brother on stage. But in actual sense, the reason I sent the money, it was because I never really expected so much support. I never really expected her or anyone else to cancel their plans, get ready, or actually just plan to get there and see me perform. You understand? It was something mind-blowing to me, like, wow, you people really want to do this. And what's even more interesting is that I've never released any of my poems out, yeah, to the internet. I've only performed once, So the few people who saw me perform there, it, and there was only one video which was taken from there, which was sent to someone else, individually. And that video, I don't even have it. That's the funny part of it. So it's only the people who were there who saw the performance, and this one person who received the video. That's it. And so that's how it was so overwhelming to me that, okay, you can't sing, you guys have not even heard. These people did. You just know that I like poems, I like poetry, but you've never really seen my content. People really want to come see this and support. So I had to send money, because for me it was more like, okay, thank you for making me realize this, and thank you for actually supporting as much as I'm lying. So as I say, not living in the moment. I'll keep this short. I think I might have to release a part 2 on this topic, because it seems to be very long and it will branch off into other things. I might have to bring in the whole article in this too: fear, insecurities, low self-esteem, and self-awareness, in this as a part 2 continuation. So what am I trying to say? Not living in the moment robs you of joy, happiness, peace too, and you lose your common sense of your surrounding, or of what you have, or even of those who love you. You actually get to lose it. And even worse, it leads to unnecessary fear and a lot of negativity in life. For example, if something bad happens to you, or in my case, if I waste money recklessly, and then I spend there the whole day, I'm worrying, okay, if I had done this, okay, it's good to worry so that you don't do it the next time. But then now you have to live in the moment and accept what has happened and move on, because you can't keep on worrying on the same thing over and over. So what happens is, you keep worrying on it, you're not living in the moment. So what next? What's the solution? You have to have a solution for it, you see. So it robs you of your happiness, time, joy, time especially. Because you'd be like, okay, if I had done this. In my case, I've lost so much because even of failing to communicate. Communication is also something which it's a big issue for many, especially for me. I've been lacking communication. Why? To fear of what might happen if I say this, if I do this. You see? So in the meantime, do I beat myself up for it? No, I try my best not to. Every day I made it actually a daily mantra to remind myself not to think about it too much. There's a song by Drake, the intro at the beginning is like, don't think about it too much. I actually get to play that every day to remind myself not to think about whatever situation is going on or whatever I'm going through. Not to think about it too much. Think about it, but come back to reality. Be in the moment. Make a solution about it. See how to go with the next step. Because if you're not in the moment, what happens to you? You lose so much, and you can't look at it. So as I can even say, I've lost so many opportunities because of not living in the moment. But then, do I have to beat myself about it? And this, I think, is a problem amongst many. You end up beating yourself up for something you didn't do, or for something that went wrong, or you think you'd have done better. I can beat myself up for not exposing myself to the world, or starting a business for something which I know would have gotten many sales, or showcasing my talents, art, music, poetry to people. I can beat myself up on it, even though I could. Why don't I do that? Because at that particular point in time, I was not in the mental capacity to do it. You understand? So even in me knowing I can do it, but I was not in the mental capacity of actually showcasing myself. Look, you see, that's why sometimes you have to take it cool in the moment and not really beat yourself about it. Just accept that it happened and make a solution to it. For me, in this case, what am I to do? Okay, realize. Okay, have the fear of being seen. How can I work best on it? Okay, I can't really give you like steps on how to live in the moment because I'm also figuring out life at the same time. I can only share from my experience on how best to tackle that, on how best people have tackled that. But then we are both working on life. And the scary thing about not living in the moment is that the time you realize when you come back in the image, it's hard for you to see things normally, to see things as normal as how other people see. You see, and that's something I'm struggling with to date. Something I'm trying to process in my head and trying to accept that other people's wants and needs are their wants and needs. Let it be like that. For me, I might see it as, for real, man, that's what you really want. That's what you're taking pride in. But then I have to train myself to accept what people want, what people take pride in, because they're living in their moment. That's what makes them happy, and me accepting that will also make me happy, because there are actually people who get frustrated because of what other people do. So me not living in the moment, or me not taking joy in something doesn't mean someone else is not taking joy in that. So as a consequence of me not living in the moment, what I missed in that gap in the present, someone else was in it and is happy for it. So I just have to accept and acknowledge, okay, I miss this gap, I miss this edge period. I don't take pride in this. This is so childish for me. This is too mature for me. But for the others, it's fine. You find yourself thinking that, this is so wrong, not knowing that there's a big group of people, a majority of people who find that okay. So I think, all I can say is don't think about it too much. Be in the moment, act right when necessary. Do it. Go for it. Yeah. And that's it. All I can say. I'm trying to look down here because I put down points, because most of the time I'm freestyling my talks. So I'm trying to put points so that I lessen the time. And I don't make this so long and boring, and I don't easily forget, because I hit stop and I remember so many things. I'm like, I didn't include that. But for the next part 2, if it will be necessary, let me know if I should continue this, or the next one should be a whole different topic. Because for me, I still feel like I haven't exhausted more in this. But let me know, please let me know, so I can plan. I might have to start scripting this, so it's convenient for the both of us, and we don't waste each other's time. So I think this is the end of this video. See you in part 2, or see you in the next video, next topic, or something else. Be in the moment, be in the present. Embrace your flaws, embrace your talents, embrace your gift, and most importantly, embrace your surrounding. Thank you, and see you in the next one.